Hey, Ed here. There is an animated text effect that I see every time I watch a video on the Weather Channel app on my iPhone that I like and I want to use in a project. It's a really simple reveal text animation that consists of a line and a couple blocks of text. The way that it works is there's a line and then a top block and then there's a bottom block of text. And the way that the animation works is the line appears, and then the top block rises up above the line, the bottom block drops down, you read it, and then the animation ends by reversing itself. And so it's a simple animation, but I think it's like a really practical one that is also a great introduction to After Effects, and I want to take a minute and show you how to do it. First, I'll start a new project, and I'm going to call it the Weather Channel App Video Animated Text Effect. I'll start the effect by drawing my line, and I'm drawing it diagonally and then repositioning it. So let me select my pen tool and straighten it out. The reason that I created it diagonally and then repositioned it is so that I can select it in the canvas and move it. If I were to create a straight line by holding my Shift key down and then clicking another point, for some reason in After Effects I can't actually select that on the canvas. If I wanted to move it around vertically, I'd have to go to the transform parameters and move it that way, which is a little bit annoying if I want to work quickly. Let me delete that. So this way I can select my line and move it where I want it to be. Now I'll create a new text layer. This is the first layer of the text that will pop up above the line, and I'll create a second text layer for the bottom block of text that will appear below the line after the first one appears. Just change the color of my bottom line there to add a little contrast, and I'll use the Align tool to make sure that's aligned to the center and move it into the middle of the canvas. My line is a little short, so I want to just lengthen it. Straighten those out. Use my Align tool again. Okay, the concept is to use shape layers in the Track Matte tool to hide our text. So I'm going to create a new shape layer either with the menu or by clicking on the Shape tool and draw a rectangle. Let me move this shape layer down so it's right up above the block of text, and I'm going to use the Track Matte tool to create an inverted alpha matte. And if you don't see that, you can toggle back and forth, and this will hide that text behind that matte. So if I use my parameters to lower the text, you can see it's hidden. Now I'm just going to duplicate that shape layer, and I'm going to drag it up above the bottom layer of text and again Track Matte it. Now you can see it's hidden because I need to move the shape layer up. But now I have both of those blocks of text matted to shape layers. And really that's the main concept behind this effect. The rest of it is using keyframes to animate the text so that it looks cool, and then adding some effects. The first effect I want to add is to make the line appear right on. And there's a number of different ways to do this, but the way that I'm going to show you here is by adding a trim path and then modifying the end parameter to make the line appear to right on and right off. So by just changing the end parameter from 100% down to 0, that'll make the line appear to be written off, and then we'll just simply use keyframes to change the parameter from 0 to 100%. Now if I grab my playhead, I can see the line's going to write on as it plays. Pretty cool, huh? Now I think my line looks a little bit blocky as it's moving on, as it's writing on, so I want to add a blur effect to it. So I'm going to search for this blur effect. I'll use this force motion blur, and I'll drag it onto the line. And now you can see that based on the samples for the motion blur parameter, it's got a blur effect, and I can make that really blurry or less blurry, but 8 is fine because we're writing this line on in like 7 frames. So once I add that on, then the line will just have that little blur effect, and I think it just adds a little bit to it. So there's a little bit of ghosting on the first frame, so just to get rid of that, we're just going to move the keyframes over a frame and then make the line not start on the first frame. So there we have the line starting to write on. Now I need to keyframe the blocks of text so that they appear when I want them to appear. So I'm going to take my playhead and I'm just going to move it up to once the line gets written on, advance a frame or two, and then animate the top layer. So I'm going to use my position parameter to move that down below the shape layer. I'm going to add a keyframe, go ahead a few frames, and then position the line of text to shoot back up. Now I got to get rid of that first keyframe, or else look what happens. It just sort of goes back up. So I get rid of that first keyframe, and now my line writes on. My first line of text pops up, and now I'll go to my bottom line of text and basically do the same thing. Get rid of that first keyframe and then position the bottom layer of text up behind the track mat. Then move ahead a few frames and drop that layer of text back down. So once I've got all those keyframes set up, then my initial reveal text animation is good to go. Look at that. It's pretty cool, huh? And now I'm just going to use the same motion blur effect on the blocks of text as I did on the line. So I'm going to drag that force motion blur onto the top line of text, and really all I'm doing there is just making that reveal a little more fluid, so the text will be ever so slightly blurred as it moves into place. And I'll just change the parameter there to let's say about 10, and it's barely even noticeable, but it just enhances the effect to make it flow a little bit more. So I will just take that same effect and put it on the bottom line of text and set my parameters. But I'm just trying to get all of the animation to flow and just visually just to have that fluid effect. It's barely even noticeable. So let me go ahead and save this. Always save your stuff as you're going. I'll pre-render that. And there you go. Looks pretty cool, huh? Now the final step is just to go to the end of the clip and reverse engineer what you've done by using keyframes to make the text disappear and the line write itself off. If you want to see me do that detailed step-by-step process, you can click the link in the video notes and go over to my blog at edhart.me and watch that video. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you enjoyed my little cheesy intro, and I appreciate you watching.